Hello everyone, welcome back to True Crime Anniversary. This is the place where I tell you a story about a crime on or around the anniversary of it taking place, and it is bite-sized true crime. So roughly 10 minutes or so. Welcome. And also actually, if this is your first time joining me, nice to meet you. I should also say that in this series, I never get too graphic. When I'm listening to podcasts, reading articles, watching documentaries, even true crime videos like this, when it gets too graphic in detail, it puts me off, so I don't deliver that sort of content myself. And of course, due to the nature of the content that I am providing, viewer discretion is advised. Now the housekeeping is out of the way, let's get into it. This week, we are focusing on the case of Phoenix Nets, which I think is a relatively unknown case here in the UK. It's tragic, it's disturbing, but I believe it's really important to tell. So today, we're travelling back to 2020. It's May 12th and it is the height of the COVID lockdown. And police make a chilling discovery near a remote quarry in the Forest of Dean, which is in Gloucestershire. The driver was arrested on the spot, but the mystery into who the victim was, how they died, and how they got there would take days to unravel. The victim's name was Phoenix Nets, and what happened to her is something that me personally, I'll never forget. It all started with a call from a concerned member of the public. So during lockdown, in the early hours of May 12th, police received a call about a car being driven erratically on a road near Colford in the Forest of Dean, which is in West Gloucestershire in England, sort of almost towards the Welsh border. The police arrived quickly and they searched the vehicle. They found 2 large suitcases, and inside one were the dismembered remains of a woman. The woman driving the car was later identified as Gordon, and she was arrested at the scene. She was arrested with another man who was from Wolverhampton, but he was released shortly after and there were no charges brought against him. There's not really much information about him around, but actually all of the research and all of my notes are in the description of this video. At that point, police didn't know who the victim was, and it took forensic testing to confirm that the remains in fact belonged to a 28-year-old woman who went by the name of Phoenix Nets. It would later emerge that Phoenix hadn't been killed there, where her body was found. She had been murdered weeks earlier in Birmingham, and her body had been transported across counties, all during the height of a national lockdown. And I believe that that's actually part of the reason why she was found. If you remember May 2020, all of us were all in our houses, and yes, we were glued to our TV screens and glued to our phones, but we were looking out the window loads and everyone was scared. No one knew what was going to happen. So somebody behaving erratically flagged a little bit more than it would do in years prior or today. Phoenix was originally from London and she'd been living in a women's refuge in Birmingham. Now, there isn't a huge amount about her online. I struggled a little bit when researching this case, but I do feel like her story is one that is worth telling. Specific reasons for her being in the facility were unknown, but what I do know is that a place like this specialises in supporting individuals who face homelessness or other challenges. So a few friends of hers have spoken to the media and they described her as kind, as thoughtful and resilient. Phoenix had aspirations to become a paramedic, but she faced personal struggles that led her to seek support at the refuge. And she was planning to return to London, but those plans were delayed, of course, because of COVID-19 and the restrictions. In the refuge with Phoenix was a woman called Gordon. They had rooms that were next to each other, and it seems that their relationship was a bit tense and quite worrying, actually, in the weeks leading up to Phoenix's death. Phoenix had told her friends that Gordon was making unwanted sexual advances and that she'd become aggressive when she was rejected. In a message that Phoenix sent on April the 7th, 2020, a few weeks before she disappeared, and it turned out to be one of her last messages, she wrote, "There's a girl here who keeps asking me to be sexual. I think I'm going to move back to London. It's scaring me, lol." Her last known contact came just over a week later, in the early hours of April 16th, when she spoke to a friend on the phone. After that, there were no more calls, no more messages, at least from Phoenix. That same day, someone started using her phone to search for things like how to treat stab wounds and internal bleeding. So when you piece that timeline together, it's kind of terrifying because you realise just how quickly things escalated after that final phone call. On April the 16th, 2020, Phoenix was stabbed 4 times by Gordon inside the refuge. A post-mortem later showed that her injuries weren't immediately fatal, which means that if Garisha Gordon had called for help, Phoenix might just have survived. But instead of getting help, Gordon made a series of horrific choices. She bought a circular saw online and she dismembered Phoenix's body. Over the next few weeks, she used Phoenix's phone to text her family and friends, pretending that everything was fine. She pretended to be her and told her family and friends that she had met someone, she had moved to London, and she didn't want to be contacted. All the while, she was making trips to the Forest of Dean, trying to get rid of Phoenix's remains, which is what she was doing the very night that the police caught her. Almost a year after she was arrested, in April 2021, Garisha Gordon pleaded guilty to the charge of murder. During the trial, it was revealed that she had a history of manipulative behaviour and suffered from a personality disorder. The judge described her as a very dangerous young woman and sentenced her to life imprisonment with a minimum of 23 years and 6 months. Phoenix's family expressed their profound grief, stating that their lives had been irreversibly changed by the loss. Phoenix Nets was a young woman with dreams and plans for the future, and she was trying to rebuild her life and find safety. And what happened to her is nothing short of horrific and tragic. Her story is a reminder, I think, of how vulnerable people can be when they're just trying to get back on their feet, and how important it is to protect and support places like refuges. So I've left a few links in the description if you want to read more, or to support some of the organisations that are doing important work around this. And I think that's it for now. All that's left for me to do is thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for spending time with me remembering Phoenix, and I'll be back next week for another case. So you can feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, respectfully, of course. And if you want to see more anniversary spotlights just like this, I will be back next week. So thank you.